Hello and welcome to a new series that, knowing me, will have one video and then I'll forget about it and never do it again. But no time for that negativity now, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Anyways, welcome to the Quick Review Extravaganza. This will be a cluster of mini reviews for shows or movies that I've recently watched but just haven't gotten around to reviewing and probably never will, unless I do it like this. So yes, this is not a detailed review of any of them, just my surface thoughts and opinions and of course, my rankings. If you like this video and you want more, then please do leave a like to let me know and join my Discord server. It's a lot of fun, link in the comments. And also tell me down in the comments about what you've been watching recently, but other than that, let's just get into the video. So the most recent show I watched was Invincible. I finished it a couple days ago after putting it off for like a month, and oh boy did it live up to the hype. Each episode just kept getting better and better, and the payoff you get in the last two episodes is wholly satisfying. The cast is fucking incredible. The sheer number of top-notch actors they got for this series baffles me. You have J.K. Simmons, you have Sandra Oh, you have Mark Hamill, you have Seth Rogen, and that's just to name a few. You can definitely tell where most of the budget went, which sadly did lead to the animation often feeling a bit lackluster. However, the writing, the characters, and the plot made up for it. There are only a few places where the writing lacked a bit, like for example Amber's weird back and forth with Mark in the second half of the show. It was just a bit inconsistent, but I still like Amber for the most part. Overall, Invincible was a joy to watch, and due to post-watching Euphoria, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. However, this could definitely drop to an 8, and naturally, we don't know how Season 2 will turn out, but for now, Season 1 of Invincible is a 9 out of 10. And then we have The Father, which I recently watched in the theaters, and it's a good one. This movie takes you into the life of an old man suffering from dementia, and everything is seen from his perspective, and it's surprisingly eerie. There are times when you can't distinguish between what's real and what's happening inside his head. It's very well written. Also, Anthony Hopkins won an Oscar for this performance, and it's absolutely warranted. This man can do no wrong, and he proves it with this incredibly lively but also heartbreaking and emotional performance. However, the rest of the cast delivers magnificently as well, especially Olivia Colman. She was great. Overall, I'd highly recommend this movie if you enjoy well-written and Oscar-level stories. The Father easily earns a 9 out of 10. Then we have Chaos Walking, which is the least impressive piece of filmmaking in this video. And basically, I had a gift card for a movie for 2, and so I took my girlfriend, but the only movie they had other than indie movies was Chaos Walking. And since we both just kind of wanted a fun blockbuster to watch and not really think much about the movie, we decided to watch it. And honestly, it's not that bad. It's what you'd expect. I must admit, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but that doesn't mean it's good. It's a very clumsily made movie with a cool concept, but stale characters and villains, a lackluster script, and an ending that just makes you go, what the fuck? It definitely feels like a sequel is coming, which I don't know how I feel about, because I don't want to watch more. However, one thing I did like was the dynamic between Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. It worked fine. And if you're a fan of Tom Holland and you want to see his butt cheeks, then this movie's for you. I really don't have much good to say about this movie, and I also don't have much negative to say either. It was a fun time waster, but then you kind of forget about it. Chaos Walking gets a solid 3 out of 10. It's not the worst movie out there. But another movie I watched was The Invisible Man, which was actually a decent scary movie for once. The horror genre has always been very hit or miss in terms of quality, but it's also always been one of my favorites. However, The Invisible Man walks the right path. It doesn't bog down its story for cheap scares. The plot is quite interesting and the characters are likable. It's not just random jump scares that feel empty. No, the scares in this movie are well set up and they feel earned. It's not the scariest movie out there, and it's also not the greatest movie out there, but it's a well-crafted film with good practical effects and writing that leaves you quite shocked. Overall, I'd give The Invisible Man a solid 7 out of 10. So I waited to talk about anime until the end because for some reason my stinking viewers hate anime. But a show I recently watched after a long time of me wanting to watch it was Attack on Titan, which I fucking loved. My expectations were so high, and it did not disappoint. It lives up to the hype and even surpasses it. The first episode starts off on such a high note, and it never seems to slow the fuck down. It's one of the only shows I've watched that barely has any bad episodes at all. And even the so-called bad episodes, in my opinion, would still be great in most other TV shows. However, the series isn't finished yet, and I'm excited to watch the last season. Hopefully it ends in a satisfying way, because despite a very minimal amount of flaws that I can find, none of them even begin to ruin my enjoyment of this show. The plot is awesome, the characters are developed and emotionally resonant, the twists and turns are phenomenal, the music is stellar, and the animation is godlike. It's not a show for everyone. I don't think it's a show everyone will like as much as I did, but in my opinion it is still one of, if not the best anime I have ever watched. This show is an easy 10 out of 10 for me, and I don't give those out for anything. Next up we have Vinland Saga, and since I'm Danish, you already know I loved it. Anything to do with Vikings instantly piques my interest. Despite only having one season so far, this show is filled to the brim with beautiful animation, awesome fight scenes, a plot that just doesn't go the way you were expecting it to, and of course, incredibly memorable characters. For example, it has one of the best villains ever in anime. However, there was one thing that really annoyed me while watching, and it's quite personal, and it's not even a real critique. But why are there so few cool female characters? This story is about fucking Vikings, which is the perfect opportunity to include women in your story without anti-SJWs calling you a libtard. You know why? Because female Vikings, also known as shield maidens, they were quite prominent at that time. I don't know, it was just a bit disappointing for me to see like 2 female characters in the whole show that weren't just submissive to the men, and these characters weren't even warriors. I don't know, maybe I'm just too much of an SJW. However, don't worry, I'm not including the lack of women in my overall rating, because this first season was spectacular, and I highly recommend it to all anime fans who still, for some reason, haven't watched it yet. My full enjoyment of this show would warrant it as an 8 out of 10, but I know it's probably a 9 out of 10. It's great, so go watch it. Lastly, we have Hunter x Hunter, which I also enjoyed a lot, but I'm a bit confused about it. See, first of all, it's not finished. It's still on a hiatus, and it sucks because I really want to know more, and if it does continue, then it has the opportunity to become a masterpiece. You see, Hunter x Hunter benefits from a fantastic power system that leaves room for very unique fights and situations, and the York New City arc is one of my favorites in all of anime. The soundtrack is amazing, and with villains such as Hisoka, Chrollo, and Meruem, I can't help but recommend this show to anyone who loves fun adventures, but also grisly and sinister stories, because this show is surprisingly dark underneath its innocent exterior. However, I do have some problems with it, like how the difference in quality in the arcs can be very drastic, and the Chimera Ant arc, which has been hyped by a lot of people to be the best arc in all of anime, really doesn't live up to that status in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, there are some awesome moments and characters, but the constant narration in moments where it's just not needed really kills the pacing and my enjoyment of some of the episodes, which is sad because the show otherwise has decent pacing. However, if you don't mind detailed narration, then you'll definitely enjoy this arc a lot more than I did. And yeah, the rest of the show will make up for it because Hunter x Hunter is really fucking good. Overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Because I really want more, and I hope we get to see the day when the hiatus finally ends. Anyways, that's all I had for today. It feels good to briefly talk about some of the things that I've been watching recently that I didn't think could handle a full-on video, but that I still wanted to review. So yes, if you enjoyed this video format, then please do tell me down below, and also leave your own reviews of the things you've been watching recently. Very excited to hear you guys' opinions. Anyways, I hope you all had a wonderful day. Stay safe and peace out.